Hey everyone, welcome back and happy Thursday. All right, guys. So Jason and I definitely last night we were in the live chat for the live watch party for upandadamlive.com. So if you guys did not make it, well, then I'm sorry. But it opens at 9, closes at 10, especially for the Real Housewives of Miami. But in the meantime, we're back to recap the entire show. So we didn't do a live today, and I think that we didn't do a live because we have so many things that are, like going on. But we also have hot messy topics coming on Friday. So we have a lot coming, lots going on. So if you guys haven't already, go ahead, pop off in the comment section, smash the like button, show some love, and let's jump right in. Oh, hello.
Oh, hello. Miami is on fire.
I mean, to be honest with you, last night's episode, by the way, blew the Valley and Next Gen NYC out of the water. Like, totally.
Well, it's not even comparable to Next Gen NYC, who is having a very good premiere season, I think. You got me onto that. So it's pretty interesting. The Valley is losing me. And I do have to say, with like Housewives, in the past few years, Beverly Hills has just kind of like lost its way for me anyways. Atlanta, I've fallen off, gotten back on, fallen back off. Jersey, let's not even talk about. But Miami is like consistent. And I really just enjoy watching it.
And I feel like for Miami, like for episode 1, 2, and 3, I feel like we're coming in hot. They're sharing everything. We're getting all of the information, but also the, like the drama, you guys. Everything that's not feeling like it's manufactured, like we're getting on Next Gen NYC and also the Valley. So yeah, you have to pay attention, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure. I mean, everything's happened. Think about it. We're having a wedding already. Well, it's a very quick wedding with Marysol, right? We're already having our two like best friends on the show in a complete fight. Lisa and Larsa. It's like,
I think that this is like Marysol's like 4th wedding.
Well, to each their own. But you know what? She seems happy.
I mean, okay. So Marysol and her husband, Steve, they finally tied the knot legally. I feel like we did this in, I don't know if they said Ireland, Scotland, doesn't really matter. But then they also did it in Miami, and then we did it before. And now we're finally doing it because I think that what the premise of it was, what she was, kind of saying is, listen, at the end of the day, if God forbid something happened to me and I needed somebody to make those decisions, that would be him, and vice versa. And I'm like, yeah, you need to get married. And for me and Jason, we also kind of did the same thing. We got married because we wanted to get married. Yeah. But also we wanted to make sure that God forbid, like, I'm not trusting my mom and my dad, like not pulling the cord on my ass. So, yeah.
I mean, listen, I thought it was so good. I do have to say, going back and watching her in like seasons before, Marysol she's always been kind of like, sure of herself and confident and stuff like that. But she does have a little pep in her step right now. It's definitely because of Steve. I really do believe that. And I love just the nod to Mama Elsa in this. And I thought it was really sweet. I thought this was the sweetest part of this episode that we saw.
What did you think about Lisa Hochstein going to Canada?
I mean, well, why wouldn't she? Her father passed away. And I know, she explained that she didn't always have the best relationship with her father. Yeah. But, kind of like Jody said, too, like if you don't go or if you don't speak, you're always going to regret not doing it because it doesn't come around again. And I think maybe she also needed some closure, the good, the bad, and the sad,
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I mean, so I think that the difference is like, if you guys know me, you know that my mom met her father, and also she found out about her mom through the Ellen show. And when she did, she was like, okay, well, I have this family, and I'm so excited to know that this is where I come from, blah, blah, blah. But like, you knew he existed. So why not engage in some sort of communication? Like, why not? But then again, I don't want to sit there and go down Lisa Hochstein's throat and be like, oh, well, you should have talked to your dad because you don't know that your dad's going to die. Right. So it's like,
yeah. And then she struggled with a relationship with him. So that's really difficult, you know, with especially some of she explained that he struggled with alcoholism and stuff like that. So it's hard to have a relationship, if that is true, with someone who is an alcoholic. With, you know, it's really difficult to pursue or want to pursue that relationship. Let's say if you're not getting anything in return, you know?
Right. But then I guess my next question is, now that we have Larsa who's coming in and she's being like, well, I don't like Jody. I feel like he has like crazy eyes and he's directing her in a certain fashion to do certain things when it comes to her business. Do you think that she is hitting the nail on the head, or do you feel like she's kind of like trying to find something to be wrong about Jody?
No. You know what? Okay. Larsa, I have to say, never really been a fan in the past seasons. I am a little bit team Larsa here when it does come to breaking up with Marcus and Lisa not unfollowing him and Jody still hanging out, because that's just not a friend, right?
Yeah.
But Larsa, it was the right thing at the wrong time. You know what I mean? Because she brought it up at Marysol's wedding celebration about the trip to Milan and Jody kind of being frantic and the eyes, which, by the way, that photo was so blown out of proportion. It was unbelievable. But Larsa did bring up a great point, because I did feel, especially when they flash back, Jody is all over her like a shadow, you know, especially when you're during filming. It's like, he's always there. He's asking her who she's talking to, how she's responding, stuff like that. Like, I could not do that. You know, we couldn't do that. It's obnoxious. It's obnoxious because
if you were up my ass like that, I'd be
your
like,
back.
Yeah. I'd be like, Jason, you got to go away, man. But hold on, guys. You have to watch this. Here we go. Playing a clip right here. Thank you to Lisa. So you see right here where she says, so Larsa picks one group picture of Jody and zooms in. Yep. Even though everyone in the album has black eyes, she's not a friend. Yeah. Here we go.
He's just looking off to the side, right?
I mean, it was not what she made it to be. It definitely was not what she made it to be.
I think she took her interaction with him and everything that was happening there, and she tried to make something out of the photo to kind of back up her story a little bit, and it just didn't work. It didn't work.
Well, and I also feel like Larsa at this point, I think that she's so pissed off that you brought up Marcus Jordan. So she's like, if you're going to bring up Marcus, then I'm going to sit here and I'm going to like make sure that the roof comes down on you. And that's what she wanted to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I definitely think that's where that went, but the photo, not that deep. I'm really curious to see where that friendship will go, because, you know, Larsa went so hard for Lisa during the whole Lenny thing, you know, and actually was one of the only ones who was like right by her side. You know,
by the way, though, that's the thing that like gets me. It's like Larsa really she did a deposition for you. She went on the stand. She said, your husband is a dickhead. Like, he really is an asshole. And I know for a fact that he was with this woman while he was still married to you. And I unfollowed him. And so when you look at that, you're like, that's a loyal friend.
Yeah.
You know, so you look at what Larsa's saying and you're like, oh, yeah. You're not echoing the same sentiment for sure, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So on top of that, the next thing that I wanted to get into was Gertie and Julia Lemigova's issue. I don't even know what happened, but obviously we know that we're throwing this like little surprise wedding party. We have Marysol with the eye patch. She looks like a pirate. Yes, we get it. Kiki Bar, thank you so much. Looks like a pirate, but Alexia Echevarria / Napola ended up throwing this party, and we know that we're getting Gertie, Julia, and the rest of the cast, everyone except Lisa Hochstein, because Lisa Hochstein is in Canada, burying her father, which is rest in peace. Now, while that's happening, Gertie and Julia, Julia throwing the water on Gertie. I was like, what a moron.
This is crazy. I mean, I know there's a buildup, right? And it all started off with this cruise that they apparently went on before. This whole cruise drama where Julia and Martina were supposed to go on this big cruise. And then Gertie and her husband, Russell, just got home from a cruise. And she's like, hey, listen, Martina is struggling right now with something. I'll tell you about it on the cruise. Will you come jump on this cruise with me? Because I want to go. So Gertie, like she says, being the friend she is, jumps onto this cruise with Julia. And then Julia goes and starts telling all of the girls, like, on this cruise, it was all about Gertie. It was like taking photos with everyone. What can I do for me? How can I look? What kind of connections can I make for my business? Which, okay, I mean, I guess I would probably do the same thing if I was going on a cruise and I just got back from a cruise and I was helping a friend out, right? But I don't think it was that big of a deal, you know?
Yeah.
But I think Julia is making it a big deal. But hold on, though, because Julia, Gertie is right, has been going around to the women trying to make Gertie look bad. In my opinion, I really think she has. Like, I'm even struggling to believe her from the whole Zoom call thing, you know? And Adriana brought up a good point about the Zoom call during this episode too, saying, hey, I was with you during this whole adoption process and you didn't even tell me first. You had to do it on a Zoom call, right? So Gertie's sitting here thinking, okay, why are you going around bashing me? And then Kiki comes to Gertie and says, hey, the girls all feel like you're a bit too much, so maybe calm down a little bit, you know, which she's just trying to be a good friend. But when it comes to this whole situation at Marysol's wedding party, Gertie held calm. She held her own, and she wasn't responding the way that Julia was attacking. And she took it too far. And I lost all my respect during this fight for Julia when she threw the drink. She didn't just throw the drink. She made sure the glass was empty.
I mean, all right. So what I was going to say is, if you threw a drink on me, guys, you have no idea. Jason and I are both very different, but if you threw a drink on either one of us, it's like, yes, we might wear that, but you're going to wear a lot more. Like, okay. There's no fucking way. There's no way that you're going to sit there and like, but it's like, for Julia, what I didn't understand, she was like, well, you're sitting here and you're talking to me about Martina and you're acting like I'm not being a good friend, but Martina also had cancer and you had cancer. And that doesn't matter because I'm also with somebody who had cancer. That doesn't matter because the way that I said this, and literally, I think that I used like the best analogy earlier with Jason. I said, it's like if Jason and I were not together and I was married to a black man, I can say that I'm married to a black man, but I cannot sit there and exemplify or honor the fact that I know what it's like to walk in a black man's shoes. So when you're sitting there saying that your partner was going through cancer, yes, you are there, you're supportive, but you're not the one going through cancer. So when you sit there and you take a fucking thing of water and you splash it in somebody's face who's in remission, knowing that they're going through cancer, knowing that they're dealing with their family, knowing that they're dealing with all of the residual effects that come with chemo and radiation and everything else, Julia Lemigova, you just lost us. We're done.
I think she did.
We're done with
she
you.
Did. The thing is, too, is, you know, I'm not saying there's no one cancer is different or better, or they're all horrible, right? So there's no comparison. Yes, if Martina was going through something like that, because Julia said she was going through a cancer thing. I think that's exactly what she said. But what kind? And why did the cruise take precedence? Why did you need to go on the cruise and invite Gertie? You know what I mean? Like there's a whole bunch of hypocrisy here. That's what I just said.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know. So yeah, it's very different. I feel like she's being very hypocritical here, and I don't know where it's stemming from. Like something right now bothers Julia about Gertie. Well, what is it? Well, what is it?
So I think that truly, if you sit there and you kind of like dissect what we have going on so far, and you guys have to understand that this is 100+ hours of like really heavily condensed, edited film, right? And they put it into 42 minutes of a show. So we're watching the 42 minutes of a show, and they're pulling like the lines and like the little drama and like the best parts, but there's a lot more that we don't get to see. And I feel like for Julia, it's like you right now are pulling so hard for a storyline, because if it wasn't for Guerdy, what is your storyline? Instead of leaning into the fact that you could have promoted that you have these two vulnerable little boys that you adopted, you decided and you told us, which is really where you like fucked up. You told us at the very beginning that you didn't want to put them out there for the world because you did not want to take away from their autonomy. So when you don't want to take away from their autonomy and you don't want to share who they are, what you're essentially saying is that you now need to shift your storyline. So when you shift your storyline and now you're going after Guerdy and for no reason, it's like, dude, you literally just put yourself on blast. Now you played yourself out, because now we understand the way that you're operating. You're not playing chess, you're playing checkers, and you just got checkmated. What are you doing?
Do you think, it's something that Julia said during their little argument too, right when it started? She was like, there you are producing, you're producing. Do you think that Guerdy has helped Julia out a little bit on camera, and maybe now she's trying to like call her out a little bit? Because it just felt like kind of like, stop producing, you're producing. When she said that, I was like, what?
Well, so my question is,
weird thing to say,
when she was sitting there yelling at Guerdy, and Guerdy said, well, that's so wild. Last night we were out with Captain Sandy. And there's photos that come out with Captain Sandy. So when the photos come up on Bravo and you see that they're all together and you had a great night with her the night before, but this all stems from a year ago. And then all of a sudden you're entering into a boat for Marysol Patton's surprise, like, you got married again. So now we're there to surprise her, but you all of a sudden feel like you want to bring this up a year later. What? Like, what are you doing? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
When Guerdy's looking at you like, I just went out with you and Captain Sandy last night. We had a great time. Like, you didn't say shit to me. And then she said, we talked about this a year ago. Why are you bringing it up now? I was like, yeah, Guerdy's right.
Guerdy is right. I mean, and I feel sorry because this episode too, you got to see the really vulnerable side of what, breast cancer can do to somebody and what it has done to Guerdy and how insecure she feels about her looks and stuff like that. For her to let us in like that, I thought that was really, really amazing. And, I know editing and everything plays like a big part in these shows. We all know that. But this just, with that back-to-back of this fight, just didn't help Julia's case at all. And I'm really curious to see after this fight how some of the ladies might respond.
Do you think, though, too, like watching when we saw Alexia Echevarria Napola meet up with the woman who was going to put together this whole event for Marysol, and then she brought Frankie. Do you think that was, I don't know, like too far, kind of bringing him into the fold, knowing that Todd was exiting? Or do you think that it's like, no, it's good because it offers dimension to what this split looks like?
What do you mean bringing Frankie in where?
Like, okay, so when she went to meet up with the woman who she was talking to, and she was like,
yeah.
But then Frankie was asked, or she was asked, like, how is everything going with Todd? And he goes, oh, it's not good. It's not good. My mom is hurting, And then she went on and she started crying, and she was like, Frankie might not be able to articulate his messages the best. However, he is very consciously aware of what's going on, what's being said. And he has the cognitive awareness to know this is what's happening. He just doesn't have the best ability to necessarily articulate the message of how he's feeling while it's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what, though? I think that I like how Alexia treats him still like an adult. I think he wants to be treated like an adult. He's consistently
I think she
there.
has to.
And yeah, no, of course. And I think, Frankie is a good sounding board. I think I don't know. I love seeing Frankie. He's been consistent since day one. He's just such a great energy, so opposite of like his mom and all of the women.
I'm going to say something too, and I'm going to ask you, because Jason's going to be the one who puts this up. And obviously this was our episode 3 recap, right?
Yep.
So I ended up getting a message, you guys, from Todd Nopola, which I showed Jason. And when I got the message from him, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, it's like when I get a message from Louis Ruelas, Teresa Giudice's husband, or... No, just those two. Yeah, just them. But it's like when you get the message, you're like, aye. What are we going to deal with? And he was telling me, he was like, I think that you don't understand that there is more to the story and that I don't like to be on reality TV. I don't want to be on camera. And my question is, looking at you don't want to be on camera. Okay. Fine. Like, who gives a shit? However, you didn't meet this woman when she was not on camera. You met her while she was on camera. And then you got in a relationship with her.
Now, I'm not standing up for... I'm not standing up for any... I mean, Jody, I think, just fucking loves the camera. So I'm going to be honest. Like, he just fucking loves it.
Help me.
Here, I'm not defending Todd at all. But I'm just saying, like, you are... Okay, so you met somebody who is already on a show, and their whole... Alexia's whole identity is the Real Housewives of Miami, especially at this point. She is like, when you look at her, you think Miami. Like, I hate to say it, but when you look at Teresa, you think New Jersey. That's her identity. So, when you meet someone like that and you maybe fall in love with somebody like that, and then they convince you, this show is going to be great. Let's show our lives, but it's still a new relationship. And then you go on this show, and then he gets to watch things back, and maybe he doesn't like it so much and wants some privacy. I think that was a big part. And we don't know why. We don't know why they split up, but that's definitely a big part of why.
No. So if you're somebody who's a smart business person, and if you're somebody like Todd Nopola, I'm going to say this right now. If you looked at Alexia Nopola or Alexia Echevarria back in the day when she was with her gay husband, if you would have watched her on the show and you saw her relationship with him, then you would see that everything is like heightened on the show for the show. Like, we see everything. He's in question. She's in question. You're both in question. So if that was something that you didn't want to do as a business person who has a multi-million-dollar company, what that says to me is that essentially you did not do your homework, and you don't know who you're getting in bed with. And it also means that you don't know what you're doing when you put yourself in front of the camera. So now all of a sudden,
not everybody does.
Hold on.
And I don't think Todd was like, I don't think he had, DVR'd fucking Real Housewives of Miami.
No, but like, come on. Before I met you, I knew that you were in Cirque du Soleil. I knew that you were in Alegria. I knew that you were in Cusa. I knew who you were.
Yeah,
I knew
but
where
did you
came
watch
from.
those shows? Did you go and inspect those shows? Did you watch it over and over again to know who I was and what I did? No, I don't see Todd sitting down and be like, let me go and just do a whole rewatch
then you're a moron.
of the Real Housewives of Miami.
Because at the end of the day, if it is something that... Okay, so what you're doing essentially at this point is, as a business person, and him being a business person, when you get into business with somebody else, what you're doing is you're taking a contract, you're analyzing that contract, and you're understanding what they want, what you want, and what the deliverables are. So if you don't understand that from the forefront, then you're going into it as a ghost. And when you go into it as a ghost, now you're looking at this relationship like, oh my God, I just love her. And you're pretending like there's no ramifications of being on national television in front of millions of people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Perpetuity. I think he saw that and he needs to pull back. I think he's like, okay, not what I expected. TV's not for everyone. Especially reality TV.
Jason, you're giving a lot of grace, man.
I'm not giving him anything. I'm looking at it from a different perspective, because not everybody is like you when it comes to reality television. You know what I mean? Not everybody knows this shit.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I get that too. But at the end of the day, you know, when it comes to the Real Housewives of Miami, I do want to say this. Like, I know that we're going to be live tomorrow for Hot Messy Topics, and I don't know if it's going to be me and Jason or me and Emily Hanks. I'm not really sure who it's going to be, but I'll tell you guys in the community tab. But as far as like Miami and like the recap, thank God it was so much better than The Valley and also Next Gen NYC, because both of those shows were so not doing it this week.
Yeah, they've been dragging. It's dark, it's not fun. And then when you have a show like Miami pop up where it's like, even the backdrop is beautiful. It's Miami, right? And then we have OC like right around the corner, which also looks amazing. It just kind of like puts things into perspective on what are the good shows and what are not the good shows right now.
Yeah. I can't believe that you actually really disagreed with me about the Todd thing, by the way.
I'm just looking at it from a different perspective. I'm not like personally saying, well, let me defend Todd. I don't give a shit. I'm just saying that I think it got too much. And since, like I said, Alexia's identity, her whole life is Housewives. Her whole life is drama. It's being on camera. It's the looks. It's the glam. That
but
shit
what
can
you're
get
saying
old to somebody who doesn't want to be around it.
No, real quick, before we go, that doesn't even make sense what you're saying. It's like, so you're saying that if somebody gets in bed with Larsa Pippen and knows that they're going to get in a relationship with her, it's like, we're going to pretend like she's not going to be plastered all over like Us Weekly, OK Magazine, people,
no.
You know, like if you're getting in bed with a reality TV show personality, it's like, what? No, that doesn't make sense. So when he said to me, and he said, and I had a very, by the way, guys, when Todd messaged me, I had a great conversation with him. It was very to the point, but also respectful. And I told him, I said, listen, I'm going to honor both sides as I move forward. And I also reiterated that I feel like Alexia being on the show, it is the Real Housewives of Miami. And I think that she has a lot more input while she's sharing that you exited the home, you took all of the stuff out of the home, you left Frankie in the home.
That's fucked up.
Frankie
that's totally fucked up.
Frankie is, you know, like now speaking on this episode, she's saying that all of your cars and your homes are rentals. So while that's happening, I was trying to reiterate to him, I said, you know, this is a perspective that we are getting from the show. So if you don't like the perspective, that is not my problem. I'm literally recapping something that the person that you were married to, that you decided to go off and divorce or do whatever you did, shared, but that was on you. And so if you're going to play stupid, this is my thing. You can't, it's total Bethany Frankel. I'm going to tap into Bethany Frankel. It's two statements. You can't play villain and victim at the same time, just like you cannot explain something to something to somebody, but you cannot understand it for them. So I can explain
that's how
it
I
to you.
feel. That's how I feel the girls feel about Alexia and Todd right now. She keeps running back. So yeah, you can't be the victim and the villain at the same time. Like, I'm sorry.
Defending this?
No, I'm just saying, you know, like you want to say all this stuff about him, but you keep running back to him. So there must be something that you want. It's all very hypocritical.
You want me to
so
paint
if you're calling Todd hypocritical, I'm saying
if you want,
they are
no,
they're both hypocritical.
No, I'm not calling him I'm saying you had to have known who you were getting in bed with. And I'm saying for her, we don't feel empathy for you anymore because you're sitting here painting him as like some sort of asshole and some crazy person, but you're going back and you're also presenting yourself as this really, really intelligent woman who there was a whole documentary made of your baby's father called COCAINE Cowboys. And I can't say that on YouTube, but literally, like we watched the documentary on Netflix, you guys, where you know what you're doing.
But what does that have to do with Todd?
Because what I'm saying is she knows what she's doing. He knows what he's doing. Now you're both playing dumb. And it's like, why? Why are we doing that? No?
No, I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell because we're still getting a lot of the full story or not. Lack thereof, I guess. Lack thereof.
I feel like
I do have to say it's 3 episodes.
He's not totally convinced.
I'm not understanding what you're saying, I think. But what I do have to say is that we're 3 episodes in. Next episode is episode 4. We get Stephanie Chauget fucking finally. Like, why did it take so long? I think there's so much drama still coming up, and there was so much at the beginning that they like waited on her for a minute. I don't think they needed her right at the beginning, because look at what everyone is delivering already. Larsa, Lisa, Julia, Guerdy, Marysol getting married. The only person who's not delivering is Adriana, but time will tell.
Well, and also, if you guys didn't see this, let me just play a clip really, really quick for you. Stephanie Chauget is entering into the fray, and girl has more money than all of them. Her husband, her Rolls Royce, her jet, kissing. Oh, that's so sweet. Let's go. And it says, Steph Chauget. Yep.
I mean, she's definitely going to be a powerhouse on the show. And if you guys haven't listened to it, I know I've mentioned it so many times, but Caroline Stanbury's podcast, Uncut and Uncensored, go listen to the episode with Stephanie Chauget. You'll really, really get an idea of who she is and how much of a firecracker she's going to be coming to the show. It's a really great interview.
Definitely. And also, guys, don't forget, tomorrow we have our hot, messy topics, and I will find out exactly who we're going to have on. I think that it might be Jason. So I feel like I'm saying that in like a low voice as if you guys would be disappointed, but really you love when it's Jason and it's not anybody else. So I'm so excited if it is Jason. I know that I reached out to Kendrick, Emily Hanks, Kim from Bravo Breaking News. I know that a lot of people are super busy, so it might just be the two of us, but if it is, guys, we're going to come, we're going to deliver, and we have a lot of topics to discuss. And we're getting ready to launch a few new things soon. And my birthday is right around the corner on July 6th. And then in July, we're going to be out of town like twice. But that's going to be great for members, because I think that we're going to make some little vlogs and stuff. So here we go. Good?
Yep.
All right. Smash the like button, guys. Show some love, and we'll see you next time. Bye.